Hey Catholic Match, the video you're about to see is part of a brand new initiative called Relate, which is the community feature on Catholic Match. If you would like to join this event and events like this live, please check us out at catholicmatch.com/relate or click the link in the description below. Thank you and enjoy the video.
Please help me welcome the wonderful Erin Dooley.
Hello,
Erin,
everybody.
thank you. Thank you so much. We've been in talks about this since last spring, I think is when it
Yeah,
first got brought up.
yeah,
And
one
we're
of the
doing it.
events. Yeah,
We're
so yeah,
doing
it's
it. So
happening.
we're doing it. Yes. And so I really appreciate you taking the time because I mean, just reading your biography just now, holy cow, you're busy. So what are you working on right now? I mean, you go around speaking, you write. What are you working on right now, Erin?
Yeah, well, I released my pro-life horror novella a couple of weeks ago, so I've been promoting that. We just had the book signing launch event this past Sunday on All Souls Day, which was a very fitting day for the topic of the book. And my scripted comedy podcast, Confessions of a Catholic Single, there's 2 seasons, and we are writing the 3rd season. And we're just going to have a punch-up meeting to punch up the humor on Saturday, and then we're going to start going into production on that. So that's the next thing in the pipeline.
Very good. Well, and you're moving soon too. You're
I
coming to my neck
am.
of the woods,
I
so you've got
am.
that on top of everything
Yes.
else.
So I'm trying to get all my work done before, and then I can move. So
Well,
yeah,
thank you for taking the time with us this evening,
yeah, I'm
truly.
happy.
I mean, where do we even begin with this topic, Erin? I mean, do you kind of want to give us your story of, how did you figure out writing was like really a gift that God gave you and how, I guess, yeah, just tell us your backstory.
Yeah, I actually I have a degree in marketing, and that was my career for like 14 years when I came out of college, and I really think that I was drawn to that. I had some acumen in marketing, and in high school when we did a career day, that was actually beneficial for me, and I paid attention when we went and visited the Motorola uh, corporate offices, and I was like, oh, and yeah, so I did marketing for 14 years in the nonprofit realm. But writing and entertainment was also always of interest to me. I have like little books that I wrote, which are comically bad. Of course, I was a child, but there was always writing, and I really like to read a lot. My whole family were pretty voracious readers, and so I thought, oh, maybe I'd write sometime when I'm older. And then it really just sort of came back to me after once I was working in marketing for a while. It's been about like 18 years that I've been a writer. So at some point, I had a story that came into my head, and it wouldn't leave. It kept circling around, and it kept just making itself known to me. I was like, all right, I'll just write this one down, and then that'll be the end of it, and I'll just get that out of my
Yeah.
head. It'll stop annoying me with the story. And I didn't know that I just opened Pandora's box. And then the next story
Hmm.
was like, okay, now my turn. And they just kept
Hmm.
coming.
And was
So
that God? I mean, you look back now, you're like, okay, I that was you,
yeah,
obviously.
just like putting that on me, like so much so that it cannot be ignored. Where it's
Hmm.
like, no, this is what you're gonna do. And even more of a God story. So I was writing, and I did a few shorts, and then I wrote a feature. It's a musical. It's a Christian musical, and I listen to Christian music a lot. And I was driving home. I had an hour commute at that point, and so I listened to a lot of radio, and I
Hmm.
would hear the songs. I'm like, well, these are great, but I thought there's no real songs about like the dirt, like when you're struggling. They all seem sort of happy clappy, and I thought, but people, just because you're a Christian Catholic doesn't mean that you don't struggle with things, probably all the more because the devil, trying to attack us. So
Yes.
I thought, oh, well, that's a shame because it'd be fun to have, because I like musicals if there was a musical. And then all of a sudden, all these songs came out that really seemed to be about the struggle and how you can use God to get you through. And so I wrote a musical based on actual songs that you hear on the radio. And when I finished writing that, I went for a run to clear my head and pray, like, okay, well, what's the next step? I was living in the suburbs of Chicago, and I had never really produced anything but these very short films. And I heard, so I was praying, I said, God, who's going to make this film? And I heard you are. And I actually stopped running in the road because I audibly heard that. And I looked around. I was like, I don't remember passing anybody who was talking to me. And so I'm like, wait a minute. Is this
Yeah.
another? So then I think,
Wow.
well, no, you've got the wrong woman, God. Like, I cannot do this. And I felt like there was a hand on my shoulder and it said, you can do this. And I was like, okay. So I went home and I was married at the time, and I talked to my husband and told him the story, and talked to my sister, and she was like, well, it sounds like you're making a movie. So,
Yeah. You're
so
making a movie. And
yeah,
you
so
made
I
the
made a
movie.
movie,
The
and
rest
it was a
is
big one.
history.
Yeah. So yeah, and then that just was kind of opened the doors. And then when the marriage ended, I had wanted to move out to Los Angeles, and so my life kind of all got down to the stubs, right? We had to sold our house. I lived with my parents for 6 months while got everything sorted. And I thought, well, I already wanted to move to LA to really give it a shot to be a screenwriter. And so I was like, this is as good a time as any. And so
God's opening all those doors.
so I moved cross country. I've been here for a decade, and I've been doing my own stuff out here and creating more projects and meeting people. So it has been, I think when God, puts something on you, I mean, we can all just take assessment of what we have, what we're naturally good at, because sometimes, yes, God can call us outside of our comfort zones and push us and expand us. But mostly, when he gives us something, that's what we're meant to reflect back and give to the world. It's not just for us, like hide it under a bushel, like the song, and just keep it for ourselves. We are meant to give it away, even the parable of the talents, don't go bury it, just because you're thinking, oh, I don't want to ruin, not do it right, not do it perfect. People can, have imposter syndrome or whatever. It's like, yeah, you're not going to do it well at the beginning, probably. I mean, I look at the films that I first made, and in some way, I'm embarrassed, and I've taken some down from my website because I'm like, this, it's been so long, I can't show that now. I have to, even though I like the stories, I grew in, as a producer. So of course, we don't want to let that get in our way to the perfectionism or anything like that. But we all have gifts. And earlier this week, it was St. Martin de Porres feast day.
Yes.
And this the quote that I kept seeing that day, and it, I was thinking about tonight, and I have it on my other screen. So it's everything, even sweeping, scraping vegetables, weeding a garden, or waiting on the sick could be a prayer if it were offered to God. And so whatever it is, sometimes we can feel like, oh, it has to be something big, or, I'm not enough of what it is. Oh, I just have this one thing. But if that's what God put on you and gave you, then use it to its full, because even though you might think it's small, I know some women who are just like so amazing at hospitality, right? And they can make everything beautiful. I mean, my friend, her backyard is gorgeous. I have the worst green thumb. Anything I touch disintegrates. Like, that is not my gift.
I'll wait till you get to Colorado and have to deal with our soil. Oh boy.
I don't even try anymore.
Oof.
I know my lane. I know what lane I'm not supposed to be in.
Yeah.
So. But so some people could see like, oh, gardening or that, like maybe downplay, but why would you? Because, there's so much beauty and, truth, goodness, beauty, that the transcendentals, we need that. And so however God has gifted different people to do that, to let God's, beauty be known and his wisdom be known and everything, we just, we can't keep it to ourselves, and we can't be afraid. And this just occurred at the quote, Nelson Mandela used it, but it was Marianne Williamson, like, who am I? What is the phrase? Oh, darn it.
I can look it up.
It's Marianne Williamson, but Nelson Mandela used it in an address. And Oh,
So I'm looking it up because
gosh.
now I'm like, oh, I got to hear this.
It's so good. And
Our
then,
deepest fear is
yeah, our
not that
deepest
we are
fear.
inadequate, is that we are powerful beyond measure. Is it that one? And it's
Yes,
our light, not our
yes.
darkness, that frightens us most.
Yes. So it
Yeah.
speaks to that, sometimes also out of a misplaced sense of, oh, I have to be humble. I can't let this show, because, I am really good at this, but I don't want to show it because not everybody is. And I don't want to seem boastful and any of that. And that's what that, not a poem, but whatever the
Mhm.
speech is about, that we all have this light, and it can frighten us because it's like, maybe it is something big, and maybe it will take a lot of education for us to get to the point where we are called to do it. It may take, just a lot of growth for us, but if we are called to do that, then we do have to let our light shine, and we have to, because when you do that, then other people are like, oh, yeah, I've wanted to do that too. I can do that thing that I feel like I want to do, and we can have this positive influence on each other.
Well, I
So
think
it's
just you doing what you do, Erin, and then you being here tonight to encourage others to do that is just so fruitful and beautiful as well. So we
yeah.
appreciate you being here because yeah, we're seeing you do the thing. And actually, we did have a question. We have some questions coming in. Just as a reminder,
Mhm.
you can post your question either anonymously or if you don't mind having your name with it. There are the Q&A bubbles. Post it there. I'm not really monitoring the event feed, so if you're posting any there, I'm missing them. So make sure they come over to the Q&A section. But this one's kind of interesting. I'd like to hear your take because I know what I think. But if I'm in a line of work that doesn't necessarily glorify God, should I look into something else? And then this lady is a receptionist at a law firm.
Yeah, I think it can almost be a both and, like, while like we're our calling in general, yes, to know, love, and serve God in whatever station in life that we have. And if you're a receptionist and you don't feel maybe that is necessarily where God is calling you, but while you are there, you can make a difference and still bring God's light and his love to your coworkers. And he might be having you there because, like, I used to work at Disney, and Disney gotten pretty woke, as they say, and it was kind of hard to work there. The different emails that we would get, and things that would be pushed, and then there's all these other clubs, but was there a Christian club? Nope. And just so certain things, they made it hard to be a conservative. I live in California, so it is, yeah. But my point is that being there, I didn't hit people over the head like that I'm a Catholic, but people ask, like, oh, what did you do? Or I remember one time I was going to be my niece's confirmation sponsor, and so I was telling my coworkers, oh, I'm going home to Chicago, and this is what I'm doing, and they were like, well, what's confirmation? And so I got a chance to speak with them, but not trying to win them over to be Catholic, but just exposing them. So I think that there are, of course, these opportunities. And if there is something specific that you think God might be calling you to do, then you can explore, okay, like, what would that look like? What does that mean? And again, depending on your station in life, like if you have children that you have to support and you're like, I think I need to be, an artist and just, Chuck having a fun 9 to 5 and just, be creating all the time. And who knows
And
if
that's
it'll
not what
sell. Well,
God
that's not
calls us.
practical,
No, we
right?
need to
Like,
take care of yes,
yeah, your
yes.
first calling is to be obedient to, like, yeah, whoever your duties in life. So I think you can have a blend of both, where you can explore the options if there are ways to be creative, because I've been doing this on the side. Like, I work a day job and then I create all this on my own, and, like, please God that there'll be a time when all this will be my full-time income, just my own projects. But for
Mhm.
now, it's me doing it on the side. And so I think you can maybe find some opportunities to do things until it might be a full shift. But sometimes, it is a radical shift, and God calls us, like, you think of Jonah, like he was like, you're going to the Ninevites. And he's like, how about I don't, because I hate those people. And, we all know he goes into the whale, and, so God can chase us down and be like, how about you do? Because I'm saving your soul by doing that. And that's the thing. We don't know why God is calling us, why he has given us different talents, why he's asking us to do different things. It could be for our benefit. It could be for other people's benefits. I'm a big fan of St. Ignatius of Loyola and, his, holy indifference, where, we shouldn't pray for health over sickness or wealth over poverty, because we don't know how God is going to use it for our salvation and the salvation of other people. And so I think also with when we're called or feel like, okay, this is a talent that God gave me, but it might be really difficult to act on it. But if he really put it in you, I sunk a lot of money into making my first film that never, I never recouped that, but it set me on this trajectory to create all of these other things. And, actually an actress in that movie, in the musical, and a crew member met on set and got married. And so it's like, I don't know. And I've always said, like, well, you know what? If all this was ordained so that they met, then I'm happy to have been of service.
Isn't that neat? Just those little things. Like, if this is not fruitful, I lost all this money, and you're like, okay, it also set me on the right path, and it did this, and you can just see all the good that came from that, from you doing this.
Yeah, we don't know how God is moving the pieces. He sees it all. So, yeah.
Sorry, I'm going through. We actually have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'm seeing some of them. I pulled up the Q&A as well.
I'm going to post Christine's really quick here, because Christine said, that's how I feel. Like, I haven't discovered that important task the Lord has for me. I'm still waiting for that huge revelation for which I can say, this is what I was meant to do.
Yeah, that resonates.
Somebody else too anonymously just said, I don't feel like I have any talents that glorify God. So, like, I guess how do you answer, I don't have any talents that glorify God? And then we can come back to Christine Ann's point.
Yeah. Well, I guess that would depend on like how you view glorifying God, because just actually, utilizing the talents that God has given you in and of itself glorifies him. Being the fullness of the woman of God that he has created is glorifying him. And so just that, with my movie, I found these other things to sort of hold on to and be like, okay, it wasn't a total failure. But even if those things didn't happen, I was obedient. And I was like, okay, God, like, you're asking me to do this. I'm all in here. I'm pushing in all the chips. And that has informed my faith as well. So I think even if you're like, man, I really don't see it. And again, it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be, making a 2-hour movie. It doesn't have to be whatever. It could be that you are a really great listener and your friends know that you are the one that they can confide in, and you're not going to gossip, and you're not even going to try to maybe fix their problems. Like, when to give advice and when not to. Like, that's a gift. I'm always jumping in like, well, let me tell you what I think. So, I think that we can all, think it bigger, because I don't know, I felt that a lot growing up. Like, you're destined, we're all destined for this big thing. But I think there's so many moments, like, who is it? I think it was Mother Teresa has some quote,
do little
kind of
things
like
with great love, or do small things. Yeah, I was literally just thinking that. I was like, what do small things with great love? Yeah,
exactly. So
but
it's
well, going back to what you said earlier about gardening, it's like you're making the world a more beautiful place. And like, if somebody just had surgery or just had a baby and you bring them a lasagna, like, just little things like that. Like, you're a good baker, you go drop off cookies at your elderly neighbor's house, things like that. I don't think we realize those are glorifying God a lot of the time, but they are.
Yeah. And I think some things that we are so natural at, we think everybody is good at that, but everybody's not. But we're like, well, it's easy to do that. Like, I'm a terrible cook. I don't enjoy it. So, but other people, you know, they would, you know, bring over, you know, like, yeah, meals and all that. And it's just like second nature. And like, I would want to help them, but I would probably like DoorDash something to them. But
That's my
so
go-to a
I
lot
think
of
that's
the time.
also
Yeah.
like to the question of, oh, I don't think I have something. Like, I bet you do. Survey your friends and family and ask
I
them
like
what they think your talent is, and I'm sure you'll get a laundry list.
I like that. So that's a challenge. Whoever posted that, I mean, if you're comfortable putting that out there, I think that's a really good, like, if you really cannot find anything, like you're like, no, I don't garden, I don't cook, I don't write, I don't do this. It's ask others. Cause yeah, I like how you said that, Erin, where it's like you might just not be seeing it, but you're
Yeah,
like blessing people left and right, and you
yeah,
just have no idea. It's just your day to day
yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever it might be.
Mhm,
To kind of go back to our question from earlier about the gal working at the law firm, when you're in
mhm.
an industry that isn't super honoring of your faith, how do you grow your backbone then? I don't know if you want to speak. I mean, that's kind of a, if you feel comfortable speaking to that or if you have any thoughts on that, Erin. But yeah, how do you, I guess,
Well, then,
defend your faith? I'm not sure if that's what. I mean, like,
yeah, right. I mean, if there are certain things that are definitely like are being asked of you to go against morals, well, then yeah, you have to sort of plant your flag. But other times, like when you first were proposing the topic, where it's like how to use your gifts in work or in hobbies. So it doesn't mean that we have to have our whole focus of life is like this big talent that we're cultivating and that we're giving back to God. You know, we may just be like, whatever, really good with numbers and like, well, I guess that's still a talent, but or whatever. We're doing something that we're mediocre at and we don't love it, but that's okay because then over here at home we're like, yeah, we're honoring our parents, we're taking care of our children, there's other ways. It doesn't all have to be directed at work is what my point is. So if you are in an industry that is hard, but I mean, again, if it is immoral and it can be hard, especially, I mean, so many companies do a lot of bad things. Like you look at the list of the companies that should be boycotted for different conservative reasons, and you're like, well, I can't shop anywhere.
What
So,
what do you do? I know I've had this conversation many a time with many of friends. It's like, well, okay, Target's out, apparently Walmart's out. It's like, okay, I'm
yeah, that's why we
I
have to like
don't
all
know where
make
to
our own
go.
clothes, or I don't know. But
Yes, I know we're going back to it. So hopefully I know you have that God-given talent of sewing because I sure don't. But
yeah, so yeah, I think, but yeah, I mean, it's discernment, and if there really is a situation, then like I listen to relevant radio, and this a question that it seems like what maybe is the subtext of it, um, has been. I know Patrick Madrid has addressed this idea of like working for a place that really is kind of anti our values as Catholics. But if it's just like sort of amoral, but it doesn't really like lighten your faith, then I would say there's other ways that you can, glorify God. Like, but even if you're just like praying while you're doing it, like if you have a really monotonous job, then like I have my alarm set for 3. I work from home. I'm alarm set for 3 for the Divine Mercy, and that way, like I can. But even if I was somewhere at work, like I could still just like pause and say, Jesus, I trust in you, even if I was in a cubicle, right? I mean, we can find these ways to just bring God in to it. And then we are glorifying God, even if we don't feel like in this task we are using some big special talent. But again, our talent is our orientation toward God, I suppose, in that moment. And but yeah, I think everybody would have, we all have something. I mean, he created all of us, and it's not like he sent one of us into the womb and be like, oh, I forgot to put a talent in that one. I mean,
yeah. So we all, I like that. We all have it. So whoever is out there doubting, it's there. Going back to what you said before too about, even if you need to survey your friends or your family, it's like it's there.
yeah,
And that sounds too like, I feel like we really get hard on ourselves and it could be a confidence issue too. But like you said,
yeah,
God did not just not
Yeah.
Oh shoot, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
And
so
I
and
think
so.
that
Mary a
oh,
few minutes ago said it's like planting a bunch of random seeds. You never know when it will fully mature and when God will use it. I'll just keep
exactly.
on planting and tending until it happens.
Yeah,
I
beautiful.
really like
Mhm.
that,
Yeah.
Mary. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, oh, I like this one. So I write as well. Mine's just very much a hobby, but so I'm curious about this one too, Erin. Can you talk a little bit about how
Hmm.
you bring prayer into your writing process?
Hmm. That's really interesting.
I like that.
Um, well, I'm feeling a little like, oh, I should be doing that more intentionally. I think I pray maybe more afterwards about like how to do it, but I think that this is enlightening me to do it earlier on in the process. Yes, I don't know that I pray specifically about each project as I'm thinking of it, but I mean, I most as much as I can, I go to daily mass and I say a morning rosary. So I feel like I'm steeped in prayer in general. So then I feel like the stories that I create, they're all informed by my Catholic worldview. Some more obviously so than others. So I don't know. Yeah, I probably don't have as much around the actual writing as this is encouraging me to do current. But yeah, so I wish I had a better answer, but thank you for the question because you are encouraging me to do so.
Well, very good. Okay, because yeah, I was wondering too. Like I said, as a fellow writer, I was like, "Oh, that's a good one." So I was
Good
wondering.
question.
I know for me, not to get on a soapbox, I had a miscarriage. This was back
Mhm.
6 years ago, and so I was looking for a book about saints I could turn to during this time, and I
Mhm.
couldn't find
Mhm.
it. So I was like, "Okay, I'm going to
Mhm.
write this book."
Oh, yeah.
It was just something as simple as that, but I was like, "Okay, well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna write it." It's kind of like you where it's like, "Who's gonna produce this play?" "You
Yeah.
are." It's like, "Okay.
Yeah.
We're
And I mean,
doing
yeah,
it then.
it's
We're"
a gift that, like in Romans, which is it, verse 8 or whatever, that God turns everything into good. So that loss that you experienced, that then you were able to turn that, God was able to help you turn that into a blessing for other people that go through that same. So, and
he's
hearkening back, yeah, to Saint Ignatius, that we don't pray for one thing over the other because we don't know how God's going to use anything. Like even this uh, grievous loss that I'm sorry that you had to experience. Oh.
Thank you. No, yeah, that was on we lost him on Halloween night, which is just
Mhm.
very, the All Hallows Eve and
Yeah,
then, the cusp of All Saints. So it was really that looking back, there was a lot of beauty and miracles that came out of
yeah,
it. Thank you. But we've got our little saint waiting for us.
yeah.
So Aaron, if you're we're starting to get some questions about being single. Are you
Okay,
comfortable answering
let's
those?
bring it
Is
on.
that okay? If there's any you're like, yeah, I don't want to, but here's one. Have you managed to stay positive during these single years? I don't want to sound over dramatic, but this time of year, especially, can be really hard. So what do we
Um,
do?
yeah, that is hard. Yeah, and I just got ghosted this week, so I feel your pain. So
But you're
um,
moving to Colorado, and he's here in Colorado, so it wasn't meant to be, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so I feel you. It is hard. It's difficult, and the my podcast, Confessions of a Catholic Single, was born out of my my reaction to. So I got married. I guess now it's considered young. I didn't feel like I was young. I got married at 24. I was married for 12 years. We were together for 14. And that was in Chicago. And then I moved to LA. So the combination of it being 14 years later and being in LA, which is a very different environment than the Midwest, when I
Mhm.
re-entered the dating pool, I was like, what happened to the world? I don't like any of this.
It's a totally different group of guys,
Oh
Midwest
my
to West
goodness.
Coasters, I'm sure.
Oh, And I've just saw like everywhere on social media, I guess some report just came out and it's like, California is officially the worst place to find love. I'm like,
Get
I didn't even
out.
report.
Yeah.
I have 10 years of
Yeah.
personal
my God.
experience.
Go figure.
But then like you turned, and you wrote the book. So I made a podcast, Confessions of a Catholic Single. It is
Love
a woman.
it.
I made the character a widow, and set her in Vegas because I figured, okay, where is the worst place besides LA for a Catholic to try to find love and
Love
maintain
it.
your faith? And I set it in Vegas, and it's most of season 1. If you listen, I hope you do. It's pretty funny.
And I'm actually really quick. I'm going to post your website link in the
Okay.
event feed. So keep
Yeah,
sorry, keep going here.
no,
I'm
it's
just
fine. Yeah.
grabbing that.
And it's available on like Spotify and all the places. And if you don't use any of those, it's on YouTube. But pretty much in season 1, any of the crazy dates that she goes on are just, I just wrote my experience. So it's like, yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
So it is hard.
Everyone's going to feel seen by that too.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
wonderful.
So it is really difficult. And a friend of mine, just days before, like I had my sort of difficult week, being ghosted by somebody that I thought like we were building towards something, she was sending a lot of really angst. Like she was just in despair about the state of the dating world and being single in the church, especially, like I'm 47, like this is the pool in general at our age. And then you try to get a faithful Catholic, like it is difficult. And she was really in despair. And so I was just like, I'm not trying to sound trite, but you just have to give it over to God. And it's hard because it doesn't feel like we're doing anything, especially like she and I are both like type A personality, like women of action. And it's hard to just let it go and be like, man, God, like what I want seems to be a good thing. Like I want marriage. I want, this thing that is good. You say that you call men and women together, but why is this not happening? And it is really difficult. And all I can do is just pray and just trust in God. And I did a novena to Saint Therese, and I specifically asked for purple roses. And I was like, please, can I just meet the man that I'm going to marry soon? And on the last day, I went to Mass. It happened to be a Sunday, and purple roses galore on our altar. And I was like, I had to be like, are those really purple? Like, that's what I asked for. You don't say purple roses, which is why I asked for those. And so now it's sort of been a double-edged sword because like it gave me comfort in the moment. But now I'm like, okay, it's been a few months. Where is he?
So where is he? I know. It's like, can he hand me a purple rose?
Yes. So like every man I meet, I'm like, are you him? So,
yeah. But gosh, it gives me chills just thinking about that. Because I have a friend too who did a novena to Saint Therese, and it ended with flowers. And she met her husband on CatholicMatch. And I mean, that's been, like 17, 18 years, so it's like, that's pretty telling, Erin. That,
Saint
saw
Therese
the purple rose of all.
If I can indulge with another Saint Therese story, so I had done another novena, and I had fostered a teenager for a little over a year, and she isn't Catholic. So she knew nothing about what a novena is, didn't know anything about roses. We're driving home from her dance class, so we're sitting at a light, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like we're in silence. We're not, we're just not talking at the moment. And it was the last day, and I had not gotten any roses. And I was like, come on, St. Therese, like, where are my roses? And all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, she just turns, she don't even turn to me. She just goes, there are no roses. And I'm like, I know there are no roses. What are you talking about? And she just points, and the light had a bus stop, and the ad on the bus stop said that there are no roses. And the answer to that prayer, still to this day, has been no. And so Saint Therese answers. She can be a little cheeky in how she answers.
Yeah. I like the way she answers. That was a bit
But it was funny. I mean, honestly, I really enjoyed that story that she
That is incredible.
Yeah. So Saint Therese,
instances like that too, where it just like hits you, you're praying for something, it's just like boom,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So I can't
I'm
encourage
giving
the
them up to
novena.
you, God. But
Yeah.
man, I know sometimes it is really, really hard. When I just was it last night. So we have a first Wednesday mass at our church for the kids. And so I took my older two last night. And I think it was last night, but the priest was talking about doing a surrender novena. Even I
Yeah.
don't know if you've done
Yeah.
something like that, but
Yeah.
even, because this is a hard time of year to be
It
single.
is, yeah. And I would just say,
Yeah.
if there's events, if there's groups in the church, just join it, and try to just fill your life in the other ways and um yeah, and offer up the suffering, everything that we suffer, we can offer up to the mystical, and offer it for other people. And so we just have to join in that with our suffering and to know that you know, when we have these very human feelings, I try to recall the human side of Jesus. And especially during Lent, of course, like I really love the Stations of the Cross and be like, man, like, Peter betrayed him. How would that have felt? When one of your best friends betrays you, two of them, and then the one even worse, sends you to be killed. And just so many of the human feelings that he felt of, um, these negative feelings that we can feel, and to be like, yeah, he knows every feeling. Like, actually, as a human being, he knows what it feels like to long for something and not have it. He knows these feelings. And so it helps me to remember that I'm not praying to a faraway God that has no idea what I'm talking about. He came onto the earth and he experienced things, and he knows what it means to suffer, obviously even more than we do, but he knows these feelings. So
And that's a really good point. And I'm glad you brought that up because sometimes it does feel like God's really far away.
yeah.
But he walked with us, like you said. And, my family's kind of going through some stuff right now, too. My parents with their business. And,
Mm.
you spoke to me just now with the whole, being betrayed aspect of it. So, no, God is very close. And like you said, he walked with us. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. Really quick, we got to give a shout out here to Amber Lynn. It's Romans
Mm.
8:28, which is what we were talking about. And she wrote
Thank
a
you.
song about it.
Oh,
So how
lovely.
talented is Amber? I mean, we just found one
Nice.
of your talents right now, and I'm sure you have
Yeah.
many more, Amber Lynn. But I just
Share the
saw that. I was
link
like,
to
she
where we
wrote a
can listen
song
to it.
about it.
Yeah.
That's really neat. Um, I'm seeing if there's any more about being single before we like
Mm.
go all the way back to what we
Go
were
back.
talking
Yeah.
about before. Here, well, I'm gonna go back to what Amber Lynn.
Oh,
We are gonna transfer back to what we were talking about before. Can you speak more to the imposter syndrome and feeling like you're boastful in your gifts? As a Catholic musician, I think I fall to that mindset way too often. So, how do we overcome that, Erin?
yeah, I don't know. It is a fine line to draw, and to not, because even tonight, like when Annie and I were talking about this topic and I was sending her things and I was like, well, I don't want to feel like I'm,
You
trying
did.
to hawk my wares and stuff. Like I do, people do enjoy my stuff, but I don't want to be feeling like this, yeah, like salesman, like, hey, watch my
But it's
stuff.
like
And,
by sharing your
so
podcast, how many are you helping? When
yeah,
they listen to it and they're like, yes, I can relate to that. Like I feel really seen. And
yeah. Yeah,
so
but I understand that question for sure. Um,
what do you
I
mean?
just I pray the litany of humility every time I go to mass,
Okay.
when I'm kneeling after communion, to try to, yeah, uh, because to try to, yeah, just have the right orientation about that, because it takes humility. But then, yeah, we, especially when we're creative, we do have to let people know about our things, and we have to tell them confidently, like, yeah, listen to my podcast because it is funny. Like people laugh and people find it relatable. Um,
Mhm.
so I think that is true. Yeah, an area that I struggle with. So I don't know that I have like the magic words that would help you. But I think it's good to be mindful of that. And I think for me, it's just getting like good people around you that then they can be your hype people. And
Yes.
just so that's
Isn't
what I
that the
try to
truth,
do.
though? It is important to have that community, and that can be
Yeah.
hard to find, but just having a good group of, girlfriends, or if you have guy friends too, that's
Yeah.
so important just to
Yeah.
have that group that, yeah,
Yeah, to champion you and
to
to
champion you.
be validating you to other people. Be like, yeah, no, it's not that she just says that her podcast is funny. Like here, like this priest, made this, recommendation, so you should read it or listen. So
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
it is. But yeah, imposter syndrome, yeah, is a thing. But because it just gets it is sad that it gets taken out of us, our just natural like being okay with like being talented at something. My whole family came years ago. We rented a house here in California for between Christmas and New Year's, and it was wonderful. Have everybody under one roof, like all 18 of us. And my
Best,
littlest
yes.
niece was, I think she was 6 at the time. And every morning, man, she would just come down like fresh from her shower, and she would just be like, "Hello, I'm here, love me," and like so confident, like, in her
Yes.
arrival, and I was like, "Man, to have the confidence of Molly again. Oh, man, I love it."
Mhm.
Um, but, it just society, kind of brings out, tamps it down in us and, oh, maybe more in women, oh, that's not ladylike to be saying that you're good at something, and it's like and that's again, to go back to, that one from Nelson Mandela, like, we think, "Oh, who am I to let my light shine?" And it's like, who are you not to? And again, I think, okay, this is what we're just even realizing, and this will be helpful for me, is to remember that it's not us. So we're not just like St. Paul. He's like, I'm not boasting in myself. I'm just like, we're boasting in God. God gave us this. So we're just putting it out into the world. We're just the muse that God is using, basically, or the vessel that God is using to bring this into the world. So we're really boasting about God.
Amen.
So
That's right. And I think the evil one can, get to us too.
for
Like,
sure.
oh, you're not acting very Christian, right? You can't
Yeah.
do that. Like I
Yeah.
had an issue with that just last night with this thing I'm doing at church. And I had to go to the faith formation director. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm too busy. And then we talked about it. And she's like, Annie, like, you're fine. And then I text her after. I'm like, thank you. And she's like, I think, Satan really gets under your skin, and you just have to be kind of vulnerable, and it's like, I think that's a lot of it is just hearing that voice that's you're not
Yeah.
worthy, you're not worthy. And
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
we are worthy, but I know it's a weird balance of just trying
Yeah.
not to get too, but I
Hmm.
like the litany of humility. I
Yeah.
do like,
Yeah. It's the
I like
doozy
that
though.
you
If
say that.
for people that have not read it yet, like, be warned. It is. I mean, you're saying, to not be loved. Help me do this, Jesus. To not be chosen. To not be. I mean, it's
Not for the people.
sometimes I'm like, do I
Mhm.
skip that line because I don't feel like I can honestly
Yes.
say it, and I'm like, it's not an oath or something. We're not supposed to, make these pledges and vows to God if we don't mean it because we're going to be held to them.
Right.
But, so I'm like, well, this isn't a vow per se, but it's still, prayer. And I don't want to be false in my prayer. So it is. So just in case there are people that have not read it yet, that prayer,
Fair warning, huh?
warned.
No, I like how you make that, it's you do it at mass every week. Like it's just become part of your,
Yeah.
Sunday, yeah,
Yeah.
what you do on Sunday. So I
Yeah.
like that. Ladies, we have about 10 minutes left with Erin. So get those questions in. We still have a bunch coming in here. We're just going to be all over the board at this point, Erin. I apologize because where somebody's asking about the single
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
event. So if that's okay, we'll kind of bounce between topics here. Do you see singleness as a vocation in itself, a season of life, or something else? And how has that, I guess, changed for you over time, that understanding of it?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think when I was a younger adult was the first time that people started talking about it as a vocation in and of itself, not as like the only vocations are married or religious life, whereas now people are talking about it as if saying that it is its own. And so not growing up with that understanding, I definitely pushed back on it for a long time, and I'm still not certain where I fall in general for like everybody. I think I defer to like the church, and like, does the church like genuinely say now? Then then I'll just go with whatever the church says. So then because to me, I'm like, well, it's just for my own life, that I would like it to not be my vocation, that I would like to be married again and to go through life with somebody. So I don't honestly know like if the church officially like has it as its own like vocation in and of itself. And I have met more people in here in California that are more like lay, of whatever order, and they are putting, which I just wasn't friends with anybody that did that back home in Chicago. So it was kind of new to me to meet so many people that, oh, I'm a lay Dominican, I'm a lay, whatever. And so there is that option. So, but I don't know if that necessarily means that that's their own state in life, and maybe that's more individualized.
I'm not sure either on that.
Yeah. So I think, for me, I defer to the church and just think about what for my own life. And I mean, I guess if the person is thinking like, oh, if it wasn't officially one, then it's like the longing would be fulfilled maybe, or it would like, then you can be a little bit more like pushing back at God, be like, okay, well, like, this should be fulfilled. Like, I'm not a nun. So like, this is my option. Whereas if the church decrees, no, singleness in and of itself is a vocation, but it's like, if that's not the vocation I want, but it can be hard because sometimes I'm like, well, what if, there are lots of things that I've wanted, and then, it doesn't happen. And if it wasn't God's will, like, what if it isn't God's will that, I get married? Because there are some things, I mean, St. Paul was like, get married if you have to, but like being single is better, essentially. That's obviously a lot of paraphrasing. But
don't quote me on that, but okay.
Yeah, that's in the Erin Dooley version of the Bible.
Yeah.
Well, they do have those Gen Z ones that are like, and Jesus said it slaps or something like absurd. Or I'm like, I think you jump the shark on these translations. But
your rendition better.
Yeah, but that there are things that you can do, one could possibly do, that you as a single that you can't do married, especially like married with children. If somebody is called maybe to missionary work in other countries, like, yes, I know that some missionaries do have children and take their children with them, but perhaps some people, the way they need to be a missionary, they're going to be single because that is the fullest way that they can realize God's call on their life. So I think there is room for that, where we may want marriage, but maybe God's call on our life would make it so that we can't be. And like, the older I get, I'm like, is that the situation like that I'm in? Or so I'm not certain. It's certainly a question to sort of grapple with about it. But in all things, just like bringing it to prayer and asking, for you, because everybody, some things, it matters in the general, but we're all very concerned about our own lives. Like, does it mean for me that I'm going to be single forever? Is what I'm sure everybody in this room might be thinking. And so it's then taking it individually to prayer. Be like, okay, God, like, is marriage for me? I really, really want this. I want to meet somebody. Is that your plan? And then, hopefully, you'll feel, hear an answer at some point that, because I mean, at some point, if you do hear definitively, like, no, like these, and maybe you'll know why, but then you might be able to release the longing and the frustration if you knew. But Yeah, so everything, I guess the default answer is bring it to prayer. So,
That's a good answer. I mean, that's the best answer. And, and sometimes just talking to a priest, like even
yeah,
in the confessional, just talking, saying, I'm really upset with God. I'm angry with God. Like, why, that has helped me. Like, I'm really upset with God. I don't want to be upset with God, but I am. And, they can give such good advice on that too, and just give you some verses to read. That's
yeah,
another I would throw
yeah.
out there as well that I've had
Yeah,
to do.
no, that is good for
Sometimes,
sure. Yeah.
unfortunately, I hate admitting that, but
Yeah. No, yeah,
um,
getting spiritual direction for sure.
just
Yeah.
getting yes, very much so. So Erin, we're gonna end here with a fun one. That's a
Yeah.
little lighter, but I like this one. I'm curious too. Have you had favorite books, media, podcast speakers that have been fruitful or encouraging in this season? So I don't know if we mean season of singleness or like giving your talents to God, or why don't we do both?
Yeah.
What are we reading? What are we listening to, Erin?
Yeah. With the thinking of it in like season of singleness, at the beginning of the year, there I won a free copy of Rachel, what is Pretty Good Catholic. The book was called Pretty Good Catholics. And
Okay.
I like won on Instagram. I won a free copy of it.
Oh, those are the best.
It
Yes.
was really good, and it was interesting because I was sitting on my nightstand for like a while, and then yeah, I finally got to read it, and it was like perfect timing of when I read it, and that helped to, I think, reframe what my expectation and my approach to dating, because I get very like right away, like, okay, is this happening? And instead of just, especially it's hard when it's online because you're trying to build the foundation of friendship while also like the romance. Whereas if you meet somebody in real life, like you would just start with, developing a friendship probably in some respect, and then add on maybe quickly, maybe it takes a little bit longer, but it's different, of course, online. And yeah, so that helped to just sort of be like, it's okay to be a little bit approach it differently, and like for the first 3 months just be like, we're just talking, like it's just getting to know another human being. And you can be doing that with a couple of people, you're not exclusive at this time, you're just learning about somebody. And really helping to guard my heart, because when I would sort of go all in very quickly, I'd be like, okay, yes, this is happening. And picturing so much further down the line than was reasonable, then then my heart would get broken, more than it should have if I was more prudent. So I have been trying to use that wisdom from that book. So if you haven't
So
read it,
Pretty
I
Good
think that's,
Catholic. Let me
yeah,
see if I
Pretty Good
can.
Catholic.
I'll let you
Rachel.
keep talking. I'll see if I can find
Mhm.
it and I can link it really quick.
Yeah. And then
Rachel Hoover Canto. Does that
yes,
sound right?
that's it. Yes,
Okay.
yes. And then talents. I don't know about talents, but I did a lot of reading about discernment and like God's will in your life, because I with moving, and I'm trying to figure out also, like, I have a remote job, but thinking about maybe different jobs and different things. And so I was reading a lot about discernment, and I wish I knew the title, but my friend just like lent me like 5 books, and I don't know the names of any of them. So this is a terrible answer. I'm like, there's a
Oh,
really great book, but I can't tell you what
yeah.
it is.
It's gonna change your life. Yeah. No gatekeeping here. No, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
man, it was, yeah. It went. I don't know if it, like how good Google is if you put like each chapter. I think they were all C's, so it was like, it'll be consistent. Like God will
Okay.
first be consistent with Scripture, and then He speaks to us in certain ways. Like for me, he kind of has to hit me over the head with the 2x4, and other people may be more attuned to the whispers. So but I don't think that's in the title, but that each book, it had like 5 C's that you put it up against, when, but yeah, these talents, of course, when we're thinking about discerning God's will, the God's will is going to be part of the things He has gifted us in. He's not going to call me to be like the world's greatest chef. Like I can't, it's not physically possible for me to do that because I'm terrible.
By now, it's like, by now, God, I know. Yeah.
So it's so I think they sort of dovetail the ideas of like using our talents and like how God is calling us. They're wrapped up in the same thing. But I wish I knew the title of that book. It was pretty thin.
Well, can you join us for tables after
Yes.
this? I don't know if you
Yes.
have the book like in a different room, but even if you
Um,
can go, and if you don't worry
It's
about it.
my friend lent it to me.
Oh,
It was when I was
no,
in
then don't.
Colorado visiting to make sure that I was going to move,
Oh,
and
yeah,
so
yes.
it is not even in the state I am in. So
Oh, okay. No, that is fine. So, but I did post the one, the Pretty Good
okay, pretty
Catholic
good
one.
Catholic.
So
Okay,
thank you for that
yeah,
recommendation too. Erin, this has been so fun, and I
yeah,
want to do
thank you.
this again. If
Yeah,
you
this was
want to,
super
let's
fun.
do this again.
Yeah, the
Maybe once
hour
you're
flew
in
by.
Colorado. Ooh, we can
Yeah,
we'll just sit in the same room
yeah,
and
yeah.
converse. How's that?
Yeah. Yeah, whoever, yeah, if we want to do like a big table but that kind of can be hard with crosstalk and stuff, and then people are just sitting and listening. So sometimes small
We'll
tables are
figure it
better.
out. We
Yeah.
will make
Or I can
this
pop
work.
into different tables. Yeah.
But I like it. I like that a lot. And I'm going to really quick, let me post your website one more time. And that also has all of your social media
Mhm.
on there. So
Mhm.
ladies, let's please go like on Facebook and follow on Instagram, and see, that's about where I stop. See, you're on X and you do all the things, but please check
Mhm.
out Erin's podcast, check out her new book. Can we get the book through your website? Yes.
It's on Amazon, but it's linked on my website. Yeah, it's a pro-life horror, so it is sort of like a Trojan horse to help get the pro-life message to pro-choicers who read horror. So I'm hoping that people will give it to their friends without telling them that it's pro-life and be like, "Here,
I
read this book."
love it. What
So,
a talent God has given you. I really appreciate your time and all you do for us here at Catholic Match, and for all of us Catholics. Thank
yeah.
you.